Welcome to episode 9 of Understanding the Modular Synth. Today we are going to be going over the sample and hold module. So if you need to find it, if you go into the modular, it is just in the miscellaneous and under sample and hold. And it just looks like this. There is a rate like you would find on our arpeggiator or an LFO. And on the back there's an in and a gate and an out, and there is the a gain input right here. So now that you know what it looks like, I'm going to show you what it sounds like. So I made actually a pretty complex patch with the sample and hold, and then I added a bus to this, just a machine input with the saw synth, and then I made a quick beat with this. So this is what it sounds like. It's almost like an arpeggiator, but it's actually completely different, although it does sound very similar. It's noteworthy that I have a reverb and a delay on the sample hold module patch, and I did put the width up, but this is just slightly adding to the stereo image ambience to it. So now that you know what it sounds like, I'm going to show you and explain to you exactly what a sample and hold module does. I made a graph within Photoshop, and there is just a simple graph. Up and down is amplitude, volume, and the left and right goes by time. So you'll notice that there are all these lines here. We call these ticks or clock speed. So picture every one of these ticks as a tick on a clock. So we have time. And so we also have a sine wave here. It can be anything. If you want, it could be a sawtooth or a square wave. It could be, it needs any sort of voltage signal to be able to know what to sample onto. So as it goes up and down, the amplitude over time, and depending on the rate that you set your clock, remember there was the rate on the sample and hold, that tells the module when to sample the value. So think of it like taking a picture. So here's this thing going up and down, and every time this rate hits one of the ticks, the clock, it's like, tick, okay, it just ticked over. Wherever value that this sine wave is at, when this clock ticks, it takes a sample and it holds on to it. So it could very well sound like ee. So as soon as it clicks, it's going to just hold on to that ee until the next time it clicks. Then it's like, okay, this time it clicked with the amplitude up here. So it goes from ee to ee. And every single time it clicks over, it's going to say, okay, what value was this signal at? And I'm going to hold on to that value until the next time that it ticks. So it's just constantly taking a sample and holding it, just like it says. It can be quite hard to kind of grasp at first, and it's really easy to mess up the timing on it. I also made another thing. So let's get rid of this sine wave. Now let's put in the first layer. So now that sine wave turned into this. It knew at this tick, it knew the value and it held on to it until the next tick. And then it's like, oh, okay, this is the amplitude that the signal was on. So I'm going to snap a picture and it's going to be frozen onto here until the next click. Oh, here's the next click. It was way up here. I'm going to hold on to that. I'm going to snap a picture and hold on to it until the next tick. Oh, now the amplitude is a little bit down. I'm going to hold on to that. And then, oh, even further down. And I made an even bigger thing because this is kind of, it started smudging and stuff. I actually used too big of a brush tool to create this, so it kind of looks weird. So I actually made another one that's bigger. So just picture these long things in between these ticks. So this isn't really going good with the graph, but I just made a larger version. So it's like, okay, this is the value. I'm going to hold on to it for this long because the next tick comes here and, oh, look at this. It's at a higher value. I'm going to snap the picture and I'm going to hold on to this value until the next clock ticks. So I think that pretty much describes it fairly well, so you kind of understand how this works. Now we are going to get into the patches and show you how to plug everything in, and there's tons of different stuff that you can do, so let's get into it. First, we're going to start off with pretty much the most basic patch that you can do, and then we'll move on to some more advanced things. So, first of all, let's just add a noise generator. This is going to be used as the signal, and then we're going to have a sample and hold. We also want to put in a waveform generator and an envelope. Okay, so we're going to use you could use either the white or the pink noise. I don't really recommend using the low frequency on here just because it's so slow. So we could just do something like the white, and we're going to go into the sample and hold. From the out, we could do something like go to the pitch on here. Let's put the note here. So it's also noteworthy that I already added 2 notes here, just so I don't have to keep messing with the keyboard on here. And then we're going to go from the envelope into the modulation port, and then finally we're going to go out to here. So if I hit play, oh, also I added a reverb and a delay to this. It just makes it sound better. So if I hit play, technically this should be doing something. Actually, let's turn the rate down to about this. All right, let's go ahead. Oh, let's add a scope as well so we can see what's going on. So if we hit play, we're not getting anything. That's because we don't have the pitch turned up. But if we turn the pitch up, now listen. This is sampling and holding the pitch of this oscillator. We could turn this to here. We could also, so if you look at the signal here, watch what happens when we turn this up and down. So this gain affects the sample and hold as well. So you can mess with the pitch too. You could do, I guess, the amplification and the FM. Anything that turns green, you could actually turn this into. Like we could put this into the mod and hit play. The amplitude, I suppose. The FM doesn't really sound very good, but what we can do is we can add a, let's actually take this off, and we are going to add a FM pair. So let's bring the mod into here, and then the note into here. Now we also need a mixer, because now we just don't have one out. So we are going to bring this into here, and this one into there, and then out can go into this so we can see what's going on. Actually, let's make it stereo. So we can take the sample and hold and bring it into the FM in here. So if we, if we hit play, so you can get some funky sound and stuff with this. We can take it out of the FM and just bring it into the mod here. Now we can listen. So we're just using this, the FM and the other, I guess, a triangle wave together to create the tone on this. Now, what sounds actually pretty good is if we get rid of the FM here and we add a pulse generator, you can do some cool stuff with this. So if we flip it around, we need to bring the note into here, and we need to bring the mod to there. Out's going to go into here, and we are going to take this, and we can leave it in the mod, and we can bring it into the width. Well, let's have them see if we take it out of the mod. Let's bring this back in. So you can get different tones by doing this. So let's leave these plugged in. We're going to take the width out of here. Now I'm going to show you what it's like instead of using the noise here. We can also use an LFO. So let's unplug this, and we're going to add an LFO here. Now I'm going to take, it's usually best to use the -1 to 1 instead of just the 0 to 1 output. So let's do the -1, the top one, to the end here. And now we can select what waveform we want and at what rate. But it's real easy this way to mess up the sample and hold rate. You can make some really nasty sequences by having multiple rates at the same time. So you need to be careful with this, but I'm still going to show you what's possible. So that doesn't sound very good. So what I would recommend to do is add another LFO, and we can use this as the gate. So this is going to determine, so we're using the clock speed of the actual sample and hold to determine the rate. Now we're actually going to use the LFO for the rate. So once we plug this into the gate, this rate is no longer going to work, and it's relied upon this rate. So let's take the -1 to 1 and put it in the gate. So now you can see that, oh, this doesn't work. Let's do something like this. Put these on here. Now, if we hit play, see how this doesn't work? And you can also choose different waveforms if you want. It's all about experimentation and just, seeing what works with what. Like I said, it's easy to kind of mess the rate up if you put these things at rates that don't really compute or whatever, or are compatible. And I also noticed that there's some kind of clicking as well. I've tried to hook up a lag processor, but it doesn't seem to make any difference. So I don't know how to get rid of the clicks. If you guys know how to get rid of the clicks, let me know in the comments, or the pops, because I think it's just starting and just at weird rates. It could be dropping from like something really low to really high, which would create a pop. So what was I going to do? Okay, yeah. So here is the thing, and you can mess with these different things. Now, let's hook up a filter. So let's go to here, and we're going to do a resonant LP. Now we are going to go from... okay, yeah. Unplug this. Go from here to the in, and the out is going to go into this and into both of these. Now we have control over the cutoff and the res, and we could change from 12 decibels to 24. So this can sound actually pretty good. Still sounds like we're getting some pops and stuff too. Let's try this. And then at this rate. Oh, I think this would change it too. Let's just jack it up and see what happens now. Yeah, so tempo does affect this, because I guess this would be playing at a faster rate. Let's change this back to, 106. I think that's what I had it at. Okay. So we can also, for the last thing, we can also use this to control the cut and the res of the filter. So let's go from this, from the out, into the cut and the res. Now listen. So the sample and hold can be really cool, and the closest thing to it would be like an arpeggiator, but this is it's still quite different, and you can do quite a bit of things with this. So I hope you learned a lot of stuff, and you guys now feel comfortable using the sample and hold, and you can make some good music with it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next modular tutorial.